Now that we've learned what to eat, we have a basic understanding of what to eat, I'd like to spend some time talking about how we eat and who we're being when we eat, and how possibly how you eat is more important than what you eat. So if you want big results, then what you eat is only part of the equation. We also have to look at how you eat. In other words, like I said, who are you being when you're eating? Do you eat when you're not actually hungry? Are you mentally programmed to eat at certain times? Do you eat too little or too much for your body's needs? So by the end of today's session, you will have a deeper understanding of this. And the place that we're going to start is what I like to call honoring hunger. How do we honor hunger? Honoring hunger is about recognizing what happens internally before you get hungry. Instead of waiting until you are so hungry that you could eat your entire pantry, what we want to do is tune into the internal signals that your body is hungry and feed it before that happens. Makes sense, right? It's kind of like the gas tank on a car. There's a buffer zone. When you get into the red, you maybe have 20 to 30 miles left in your car before you completely stop and run out. Why would we not give your car more gas before it actually runs out? Everybody does, most of the time. So we don't want to wait until you completely run out of gas before you eat, because that's when the crazy unleashes. And notice what happens when you're super hungry. It becomes impossible to make good choices because you are so focused on your primal need. Who do you take it out on? Who do you get grumpy with? Do you become unreasonable, like me? Do you end up eating things that you normally wouldn't because it's just within reach and you need nourishment? You feel desperate? If you let yourself get too hungry, like I said, it becomes almost impossible to think clearly or make good decisions that are congruent with our goals. And the need to feel physically full is so strong that you'll eat almost anything. My go-to is to spoon peanut butter straight out of the jar. And then after you eat all that, breadsticks, a bunch of Pop-Tarts, maybe you spoon peanut butter or Nutella, or you have some ice cream, you eat leftovers. Even after all of that, do you find that you are not satisfied? That's the body's appetite mechanism. It's still searching for the meal experience, and it won't shut down until it's had what feels like a meal. So the first step is to recognize the hunger. So I'm curious, what lets you know that you are hungry? If I were to be you for a day, how would you tell me when I need to feed myself? Does it make sense? So teach me how you know when it's time for you to eat. This is just a good way to verbalize what goes on in your body. So we're going to create a hunger scale from 1 to 10, 10 being psycho hungry. So what we want to start doing is around a 2 to a 3 on your hunger scale, so that you're not super hungry, you're able to think clearly and make good choices, that's when we want to start planning for nourishment. We don't want to let the hunger scale get past a 5, because then there's a good chance that you'll be setting yourself up for poor food choices, or maybe a binge later on. So start to plan for food when you are at a 2 to a 3 and see what happens. Now let's talk about honoring fullness. I feel like this is one area that most of us trip up. We can also create a fullness scale from 1 to 10, 10 being so stuffed that you have to unzip your pants, you have to lay down. We don't want that. That's not ideal. What we're looking for is about a 7 on the fullness scale. When you're at a 7, you feel nourished and energized from your food. You're satiated, you're not stuffed. It means eating to about 75 to 80% fullness. To practice eating to a 7 on your hunger scale, your first action step for this week is doing what is called the 20-minute meal. This is something that I have really been focusing on myself. Here is some science for you guys, and this is really, really cool. If you pick up nothing else from this session, please listen to what I'm going to say. I'm going to be reading straight from my computer here so I don't get it wrong. Okay, watch it now. Much of the pleasure of eating is derived from your anticipation of the sensations, the textures, and flavors of food. In fact, researchers have estimated that as much as 30 to 40% of your digestive response to a meal is due to what is called CPDR. CPDR is cephalic phase digestive response. And simply put, this means that the thought of food, the sight of food, the smell, it stimulates gastric secretions in your gut to prepare for the digestion of food before you have even had a bite. 30 to 40%, that's pretty big. Okay, the reason being, the way that your brain works is that it must experience this pleasure and satisfaction from the thought of food before eating in order to signal to your body to start stimulating your digestive juices. But here's the catch. Listen to this. Here's the catch. If you eat too fast or absent-mindedly, your brain will interpret this culinary experience as unsatisfying, and you will therefore be left feeling hungry, even if you have eaten a full meal. So basically, the more awareness and presence you bring to each meal, the less you will need to eat, and vice versa. The less awareness and presence, the more you will need to eat. That is so cool. And it's something that is not really talked about, I think. So I have really been focusing on this myself, and some changes, some things I've been noticing is my skin has gotten so much better, you guys. My bowel movements are very regular, and nothing feels So good. Okay, you know what I'm saying. 20-minute meal. Why is the 20-minute meal so powerful, and why is it so important? Well, it takes very little time, 20 minutes. It doesn't cost a penny. You don't have to change a single thing you're eating to be able to do this and to be able to see the benefits that we talked about. It doesn't require any willpower, if that makes sense. You don't have to, like, no, I'm not going to eat this. You know, you could. You could eat X. If you eat it slow enough, then you will still experience the benefits of the cephalic phase digestive response. You don't have to change anything you eat, basically said that, and it helps you lose weight, gain energy, resolve digestive issues, heal fatigue, and more. You guys, this might be my biggest tip for people. So, it's so easy to do. Just check the clock before your next meal, and then I'd say just eat as you normally would, and then check the clock afterwards and see how long did it take. My first one was about 3 minutes. I eat fast. And so just progressively at each meal, start adding 5 minutes to your time. And then just notice at what point you feel full. So this is not about being good or bad. This is about discovering if you're taking enough time for your stomach to tell you when the right amount of food is and when to stop. So that is the only action step for this week. This is so big and so important that this is your only action step. You can continue to do the other action steps, adding the healthy fats, getting good sleep, the movement, what was the other one? Counting ingredients, not calories. Those are all really, really great. But for this week, you don't have to do anything new. Just take time with your meals. I'm so excited to see what you guys think. And let me know. Let me know if you try it. And encourage other people. That's all. Goodbye, you guys. To your health.